Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to our Saturday live tastings. I'm joined today with Phil again, Cyril, myself, and then we have Brendan today.
Producer B!
Producer Brendan.
Still working on holding on to that mic. So, I am really excited for today's guest. The moment we started this was someone that I thought of, and then we got news of what the pairing would be, and I got even more excited. So I think this promises to be the best Saturday Live we've done yet. If we're not sideways, we're doing better than last week. There's that, and I feel like I would have gotten a notice if we were sideways. So it looks like we're a go.
We both goes everywhere. Yeah,
we both go everywhere. So, how have you been this week?
Good, pretty good. It's been a nice week. Nothing too crazy. The Vineyard is pushing pretty good right now, so we're just keeping an eye on that. We had a couple of warm days actually, pretty 80 degrees. Cooled down again this weekend, but I mean, it doesn't seem like we're getting more rain, so it's just now a matter of keeping an eye on the plants and deal with the growth and everything that we got. So pretty good, pretty happy, and then get some rest at home, of course.
Yeah. I've kind of gone the opposite direction. I've been trying to burn off a little bit of the blending wine from the last couple weeks, so I actually got out and got a little bit of exercise. Bike ride yesterday, a little bit of a run earlier in the week, and then some disc golf even. We have, for those of you that aren't from the area around here, we've got a few pretty stellar disc golf courses. Castoro's got a pretty amazing one. And then Howman Park in Atascadero actually has a very challenging but very fun disc golf course. And I was sad to say, for all the exercise that I get doing what we do here, my shoulder was a little sore. I don't know what that says about my physical shape currently, but it does kind of get me clued in that harvest is only 6 months away, and I better start working.
We're gonna go. Hey, we're gonna go out every Tuesday, right?
Yeah. I think that's the game. Game plan. Yeah.
You like my helicopter throws? I invented a new throw. Over the trees, not through the trees, over the trees.
Defy the laws of physics. I've never seen a frisbee do what happened when Brandon threw it. It was quite the spectacle. Maybe we'll video it this next week if he dares do it again and post it for you guys.
Oh, that is so happening slow-mo.
It'll just depend on the outfit he's wearing. I'm not going to subject you guys to what he was wearing last week. Just saying.
What's wrong with bright tights?
It was a good thing that there was social distancing there and no one had to be close by for it. So, that said, typically we do the pairings a little farther back. Like I said, I'm really excited for this one. So I think we're going to kind of hop into the pairing to start. If that's okay with you, Cyril?
Yeah, absolutely. Today we're going to go through the 2014 Hedge, as well as the Hedge Reserve, the 2016.
Yes, 2016.
Hedge Reserve. So the chef paired the dish with the 2014s, which tastes amazing right now. So he's gonna come on and explain, kind of the philosophy behind the dish and what the pairing was about. And I'll come back on and then taste the second leg of that tasting today with you as well. So
perfect. So yeah, we'll get Chef Wills out here. While we do that, a couple other little things during the transition. Congratulations to last week's gift card winners, Donna and Sean. Stay tuned. We'll do the same thing again this week. So there'll be a question that comes up at some point in time that has to do with either the wines or the pairing we're talking about. I don't know. I'm going to make the question up and I haven't decided yet. So I don't even know what it'll be. But without further ado, Chef Wills of the Canyon Villa, thank you so much for hopping on with this.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure. It's all about the hood, and you guys are our neighbors. I mean, we could set up our own disc golf course here.
We go back and forth. We got the ultimate shot.
But back to Cyril's point about the 14, when Brandon brought it over earlier in the week for me to taste, I mean, so many bells and whistles went off in my head. What am I going to pair with this? What am I going to pair with this? Because that is a wonderful, wonderful wine. And as I was saying earlier in my tasting notes on it, that day that we tasted, is that the persistence of the finish, the lift on it, everything was spot on. I said, okay, how am I going to pair it? And then I thought immediately duck breast goes with 100% Syrah like nobody's business. So that's what we have today.
I am very excited. I'm a huge duck breast fan.
Can I eat the plate, like just from the whole plate? I mean, is the plate edible?
I mean, the presentation on this is amazing too. That is art on a plate.
Thank you.
I absolutely love all the colors kind of going on. Why don't you kind of walk us through your art there?
Certainly, thank you. To start with, it's started with a fresh duck breast, not frozen. It was prepared sous vide. I know the recipe says just how to cook it without the sous vide process. I didn't want to go in that direction. I'm a big proponent of sous vide. Duck breast is one of my signature items. In the center, underneath the duck breast, you have a very soft, light polenta. In the recipe, you could do it with a dried porcini mushroom broth, using stocks, different things like that. I have just a hint of freshly grated nutmeg in there, salt, pepper, and a little bit of Parmesan Reggiano, and a little Pecorino Romano cheese in there as well. So that's kind of the base or the background to it. The vegetables are out of control because the Brussels sprouts and the carrots come from the farmer's market. I'm a big proponent of the farmer's market. I go to the one on Templeton on Saturday mornings, as well as the one on Tuesday mornings here in Paso. So that's really nice as well. The green that you see coming out of the top of the duck breast, which by the way was cooked medium rare, that is some Italian flat leaf parsley. I have a huge herb garden at home that is just going gangbusters. I just planted my basil because we're through the frost now, and I get a little nervous about certain types of herbs over the winter time there. The flat leaf parsley survived the frost, which is really nice. Let's see, what else we have going on there? A little bit of a balsamic syrup or reduction going on, that's the dark sauce. The orange, now this is a classic. This, in the Italian parlance, is called agrodolce. And agrodolce is a sweet sour, and I did it with an orange there. The recipe's on our website as well. Is it on the TH website as well, or not yet?
It's going to be.
Okay, so if you need to, go to thecanyonvilla.com, click on the dining tab, scroll down, and you'll see a PDF of this dish that I've prepared. Cipollini onions, classic sweet, soft onions, nothing harsh about it, slowly roasted. A little bit of sel gris or gray salt just sprinkled over the top of the duck breast, and that's it. It's kind of a party in your mouth.
It certainly looks like it. You know, I was fortunate enough to go up, you know, to the Canyon Villa and do a Sunday supper with you guys.
That's right.
In kind of winemaker pairing with it, and I was blown away. Like I said, I could listen to you kind of speak about what you're preparing. One of the things that stood out to me that I didn't know was the depth that you went into on different salts you can use in different situations.
Yeah. I have probably 6 or 7 different salts, and I'm going to start smoking my own salts as well, because I find that the smoked salts that you buy commercially are a little wimpy. I want to play with different types of woods and use the different coarse flaky sea salt and just start doing little buckets of different, depending on the intent of the dish. For instance, this dish, I would never put a smoked salt against it because the duck is the star, not the smokiness. So that's why I did the sel gris. So you're going to get that crunchy, natural sea salt from France.
Nice, absolutely.
So
you I was talking with the guys earlier today, and you know, during everyone's quarantine time, a lot of us have kind of tried to up our game in the kitchen. Your game is already pretty amazing in the kitchen. What do you find yourself doing a little bit extra time you have?
Oh, great question. I've renamed Kitchen Stadium Kitchen Lab.
Okay.
I am just like, I'm in there probably 3-4 days a week for 6 hours at a time, doing stuff long-term, short-term. I'm making some sausages right now that are kind of off the charts, meaning you won't find them in a recipe book anywhere. Tinkering with those ideas. I've been doing different breads with my natural starters actually as well. I just made a rye bread, which was really nice. And let's see, what else? Gosh, doing a lot of stocks right now too, because the stocks kind of fill up the whole villa with the smell of a stock, and so I'd rather do it when there are no guests there, and then reduce, vacuum pack, freeze them in smaller increments and stuff. So I'm doing stocks, breads, sausages, breakfast items. I'm making my own lamb bacon actually right now as well. So I take the fresh lamb belly, I brine it for 24 hours, then I smoke it with a blend of different pellets, wood pellets, and then I just vacuum pack them, and then I would heat them, and I'm doing some like on an avocado toast right now, with crispy thin strips of lamb bacon on there. That's rocking.
That sounds absolutely amazing.
And this is the right area for it too.
So all kinds of amazing nuggets thrown in here already. Just so you guys know, we do repost these videos. I will be going back and re-listening to this for my inspiration during some quarantine work in the kitchen, because there's already a bunch of stuff now you've opened my mind to here. You're historically, I know that you worked over at the Playboy Mansion for years.
That's correct.
I don't want to get too much into the peripheral of all of that, but one question that comes to mind for me is like, was there a meal that stood out that you made while you worked there? Something that...
Actually, at the Playboy Mansion, I was the executive chef for 30 years there. There was always moving targets. I mean, and we got to use the best of the best. The old adage, there is a budget, but there isn't a budget, but there is a budget kind of thing. So you're kind of hamstrung a little bit by what the budget is, but then you decide to hell with it, you're gonna just do what you wanna do. And then what comes back far exceeds whatever that minor deficit may have been in the budget. One of the things that I did, which I'm very proud of, is I was doing a squab dish, and this was totally nuts. I made it I took the breast off of the squab, I took the skin off of it, I sliced it thin like sashimi, put it in the bottom of a soup bowl, heated bowl. I made a squab consomme. I took white truffle shavings, put those on top of the raw sliced squab breast, and then the butler, who's been trained in fine dining, would come out into the corporate dining room with the hot pitcher of consomme, pour it over the top of it. So the breast of the squab, those thin slices, would delicately cook, and then the plume of the white truffle in front of you was just mind-blowing. And again, it's just a nice little soft dish, but it's a consomme, and sometimes they don't teach consommes at culinary schools anymore. They're teaching other stuff, and you have to find a balance between the classics as well as what's cutting edge.
Again, amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's always impressive. Like the plate, everything you brought for this is just above and beyond. Do you have any, tips for anyone playing in the kitchen right now? Recommendations you'd make?
Yes, I would. First of all, go to your farmer's market and get a lot of fresh vegetables. We've all had a lot of food, a lack of exercise, and boredom, and a lot of wine. So we have to balance all this. But go to the farmer's market, grab vegetables. Don't be shy. Don't feel that you need to measure things. Just do things based on your past experiences in the kitchen. And for some people that maybe you're a newbie at it, a real simple dish to me is just taking some fresh arugula, washing it. And again, I wash all my lettuces in ice water. I let it suspend in ice water because the water coming out of your tap, even if it's cold, is going to wilt the lettuce. So you want nice, crisp lettuce. So put a bowl of cold water, ice cubes, and your lettuce in there. In this case, arugula. Take it out, spin it dry, put it in a bowl, and just hit it with a little bit of pepper off of the mill, a little bit of coarse salt, and just a little dab of some olive oil. Toss it vigorously, put it on the plate. Maybe put a little grilled, finely sliced steak over the top of it or something like that. That's what we had for dinner last night, actually. But, shaved fennel on there would be another thing that would work well with it as well. So that's one tip. Again, another thing is don't measure and don't be beholden to any recipe. If you fall in love with a recipe, try it the way they would like you to make it, and then make it again and again without measuring, and let you be the guide of what you want, because ultimately it's up to you. So
love it, absolutely love it. That last point is actually hits home with blending a lot of the wines. You get accustomed or beholden to kind of target areas and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's always good to kind of let yourself roam. Don't be tied down to any kind of numbers or anything like that.
And to parallel your world, which I find fascinating, is I'm a fan of blending wines. I'm a fan of looking at different blocks and different rows of maybe the same varietal to come up with something. And then when you bring your barrel program into it, it's just mind-boggling when you're using different barrels from different parts of the world, or so much toasting to them, or the heads toasted, things like that. And in the cooking world, it's kind of the same thing, where you're looking at different unique things. When I make breads, I probably have 6 or 7 different flours that I use when I'm working with different things, with different percentages. Always write down notes. That's another great tip for everybody, is just write down notes next to a recipe that's attracted your attention and start working off of your notes with it. I always weigh everything. I work in grams primarily, in liters, because it's easier for the math at the end of the day. So that's another great tip as well, is just write stuff down. And if you're not sure, and I used to run one of the most well-regarded internship sites for culinary students around the country at the Playboy Mansion. And one of the things I would say is, on your days off, grab a book from a chef that you respect, that you would want to see yourself as one day, and just open it up with a bottle of wine at home, some soft music in the background, pad of paper and pen, and just start reading through it like it's a book, writing down notes. I could do this, or I could do this, or what if I did it this way? And that's probably the best way to find your inspiration. It really is.
Well, I'm inspired, for sure. Absolutely, it always is. Yes, producer Brandon.
Hey, question here. So this is going back a little bit as we were working on our Facebook Fundness. So, Chef, Jen's inquiring about, do you sous vide? How do you feel about that? What temp are you cooking this? How long? That type of stuff. Great
question. Yes, I do sous vide, but I don't embrace it for 100% of my culinary repertoire. There are some vegetables that will not work out. Sous vide's advantages are primarily when you're working with tough cuts of meat that require up to 48 hours, sometimes sous vide cooking, maybe brining first. For example, like the lamb belly, when I make it lamb bacon, you could sous vide that. I don't sous vide that, but that's okay. You could do it if you wanted to. I have worked with everything. I just rediscovered, I used to do my golden beets at 85 degrees Celsius for 90 minutes. And I was kicking around one of my books, and I saw something there where they were doing it for 90 degrees Celsius for 3 hours. And I thought, gee, that's a little long. So I went ahead and I followed that person's recipe, that chef's recipe, and sure enough, I was more impressed with it that way. So I updated. I keep everything on my phone, so I have notes for everything. I probably have 40 to 50 different things that I can sous vide. It's not the silver bullet, though. I must emphasize that. It's not going to make up for technique, and it's a tool in your arsenal. I think that's the best thing I can say about it.
Speaking about tool in your arsenal, one of the things you talked about earlier is about the 14 hedge. Why did you pick this particular dish? Why this?
Okay, so the 14 hedge, why I picked it for this. First of all, duck is pseudo game. It's not really game, but it has that nice dark meat texture to it. It's got that steaky, rich mouth feel to it. But again, you want to achieve a crispy skin with it as well. And I mentioned in the recipe to score lightly the skin on top on a diagonal, and that helps releases a lot of the fat as it's in the non-stick pan cooking, and that way you get that crispy edge to it. But what impressed me about the 14 hedge was that not only, and I think when Brandon came over, I was just smelling it like this.
For like 20 minutes, man.
Yeah.
Take a sip.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I wasn't thinking. And I was just like, wow, the nose on this is just getting better and better. And then the mid palate had a lot there. It was calling me in. And that was something I learned in my training at UC Davis, was that when you're going through European wines, particularly Burgundies and Rhone varietals, is you must come to it. It doesn't come to you. In other words, it's not, a fruit bomb in your mouth like some wines can be. It just kept getting better and better in the glass. The spice, the earthiness to me screamed duck breast. So that's why I did it. And again, the persistence on the finish of this wine is really good. Really, really good. So it doesn't die in the glass, I want to say. So, which is a hallmark, I think, of the whole TH program here as well. You guys are a small producer, you're hands-on. We're a small business, we're a small hospitality. What we do is 100% hands-on. Yes, we have meetings with our staff on a regular basis because we're not disconnected from them. We, even this morning when our housekeeper came in, and we still have our full-time housekeeper on with us now, doing many, many projects for us, increasing social networking for the public spaces, things like this. But, and how we're revamping our food program as well. It was just one of those things where we're really hands-on, and during this quiet time that we're all experiencing, we're saying, what are we doing next? How are we going to do this better? We're already at the top of our game, but we can do better, and that's what Kath and I talk about every day.
Cool.
Well, so what is it? Do you guys currently close? Can people book stuff with you currently, or I'm not sure.
We are open because we're considered essential services.
Okay.
We have no guests. Our last guest checked out Sunday morning, March 15th. Most of our guests that had bookings for the end of March, April, and May have all rescheduled, which is phenomenal. They're just saying, look, we love you guys. We want you guys to stay in business. We're here for you. We get emails almost every day. And from our neighbors in the neighborhood here, we're getting gifts left at the front gate, which is like crazy. You know, they'll send us a text message saying, check your front gate, you know, kind of thing. So we do have people coming in towards the end of May here. So, and that'll be fine because they're going to be the only ones here, so they can have 7,000 square feet of social distancing if they like it. So.
Yes, and I mean, up there for the dinner, it's a stunning place.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, you know, my wife and I will staycation. You're at the top of the staycation chain now. You know, because time and time again, you know, anytime I've interacted with you, you're a consummate professional. You can tell you're very passionate about what you do.
Thank you.
It just comes right through on it. And I mean, what they have set up there is truly amazing. You know, definitely a favorite neighbor of mine here in the neighborhood for sure. And you know, we're thrilled to have you. Stop by.
Well, thank you. You're very welcome. The views are majestic. The food is 5-star. The hospitality that my wife, Kath, my business partner, provides is 10-star. That's the right answer, 10-star. But she's sitting here in the room too. No, it is. And for anybody that's thinking about staying with us, particularly when you're here we know that things are going to come back, and we know that there are going to be socials at different wineries throughout. And I would ask that anybody who's a member at TH Estate Wines would hopefully want to stay with us as well. And I mean, we could do a Kabuto pickup for you too if you want.
Yeah,
no Uber
absolutely.
required. So anyway, well, thank you. Chin chin.
Yeah.
And a couple things here.
Oh,
We're going to
boy.
be posting the recipe that the chef put together for us on our Facebook and Instagram. So be sure to check that out. And want to do a question?
Sure thing. I can pull that. They're over there.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool, Chef. Thank you
Thanks
so
again,
much.
Chef.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Chef Wills. And again, there's several programs they run. The winemaking, the Sunday
Supper.
Sunday supper. Thank you. Was a lot of fun. They invite local winemakers like myself up. We bring them our favorite bottle of wine. All the guests bring a bottle that means something to them. And it was an amazing experience. A lot of fun. I highly recommend if you're going to be up and about, if you can schedule yourself to be around for that. It's amazing. I know that they book up a whole heck of a lot, no surprise. And so weekdays are also a pretty good option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Paso's amazing during the week. It's pretty quiet here. If you want something close to the experience that we're getting now, weekdays, I highly recommend it. We're around and open on weekdays as well. So it's a nice little marriage there. You're right down the street. So again, highly recommend you guys checking them out. And thanks again for coming by.
Yeah,
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you so much, Chef. That was great.
Cyril, you're back.
Yeah.
You want to get the question
Get the
bucket?
question bucket.
I do. So let's put the first questions for the day. See what you guys got. That one is for me.
Nice, nice.
All right. So the question is, what is your favorite cheese and wine pairing? And so in both English and French.
Perfect. I'm brushing up on my French.
That's great. So let's start with the English version of it. One of my favorite cheese is probably a cow cheese. It's called the Senectaire. It's a soft cow cheese, very stinky, kind of thick crust on it, from the southwest of France as well. Really love that softness that you get on that cheese. And because it is a little powerful, because it is a little kind of melty and everything there, the flavors are pretty strong. Any kind of big reds will do fantastic. I mean, in that region there, they grow the Cahors region. So it's big wines that you got out there. You're finding your Malbecs, you're finding your Tannats out there. So you're looking at heavy reds with this type of cheeses there for sure. Although I just had a taste of the 14 Syrah, and like the chef said, I think like still has really good legs on it, really nice. So I feel like those will be pairing super well. Maintenant en français, le Saint-Nectaire, le fromage Saint-Nectaire, c'est vraiment exceptionnel. C'est vraiment un de mes fromages favoris. Comme je disais, les vins Cahors sont exceptionnels avec ce fromage-là. Mais pas pour autant l'enlever du Syrah, parce que le Syrah, ça a quand même quelque chose d'exceptionnel. Surtout ici à Paso, en fait, hein, avec la chaleur qu'on a, les pics de température pendant la saison, on arrive à avoir des profils qui sont assez imposants. Donc l'accord fromage et Syrah est excellent.
1, 2, 3. That's my French. That's all I got for that.
Je m'appelle Brandon.
Well, if Jennifer was there, I'm pretty sure she would have picked up on pretty much everything I've said.
Yeah, so. you two can have the full conversation in French. I'm just going to stand here and scratch my head. And it does sound very beautiful, I must say. Nice. Well, thank you for answering that question, and thank you for submitting the question. Keep them coming. We love to answer questions via, you want to message us now, we'll get it out there, or hit us up during the week. With wines you want to hear about or things you want to know. We are a veritable smorgasbord of information here. We come from all corners of the world.
And
give us a try, yeah, absolutely. So, 14 Hedge.
Yeah, back to the wines of 14 Hedge. So I haven't had it in a while. I don't know when was the last time you had it, really. For me, it probably was a couple of months ago back, for sure. And I'm tasting a lot of fresh palettes today as well. So no food, barely any breakfast this morning. I think this is smelling and tasting fantastic. It's just super smooth, but still that robust finish there. I really like that a lot.
I'm really amazed because I mentioned before on previous weeks, 14 was a pretty big year. So out the gate, this thing was a pretty big boy. And
you were part of the bottling of that, right?
So I was around for some of the blending and the bottling of it.
So you're pretty familiar with the 14 vintage in general, what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, during the while 14s were released, I had been working here and I was working simultaneously front of the house with dinner and hopping around. So I got to taste a lot of people's 14s, and it was definitely universally a pretty robust year. And this is mellowed out very nicely. So I would say this is kind of hitting some nice early maturity where you're getting just a really pretty silky mouthfeel for it already. Still robust, still packing a lot of flavor and some good spice and you're starting to get some nice, maybe tertiary kind of, meaty character to it. I'm starting to get a little bit more of that Syrah kind of character, but the fruit's still definitely holding up and some nice acidity to me for something that like duck breast where you get that fat in there and it's kind of full. The acidity on this is going to kind of help really kind of cut through that.
Yeah, definitely. Plus on top of that, the sauces that it does with it. These are balsamic reductions, so that's pretty heavy sugar on that too. And then there is the other sauce as well. I forgot the name of it, but you're right. For cutting through sauces there on top, which is the fat on it, it's just going to be fantastic for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. So, let's slide over to the 16 Reserve.
So we're looking at two different wines again, two different vintages there. The 16 being the Reserve ones. Again, this is an extended barrel aging on that program there. The 16 version of the Hedge Reserve is also 100% Syrah. Let's go through I guess maybe you touched on the 14 vintage a little bit and how big it was and how the Syrah showcased a little bit. Let's touch on the 16 Syrah a little bit there.
So 16, another bigger, robust vintage, a lightning fast harvest. I mean that started late August, and we had most everything pulled in through September, and we had a few lingering things out there, but that was fast and furious. We actually ran out of fermentation bins, anything to ferment in. It was like, open up a tank, get the fruit in there, let's go.
Right.
And the only thing that was kind of holding up picking more and more of it was the fact that we had no place to put fruit, and so it was a wild harvest of my second year on, and vastly different than 15, where we saw some lighter yields on the Syrah. 16 was a very bountiful year. So I mean, it was we told the crew, start picking here and just keep going across the property in this order. We just listed off the order, and everything came in looking absolutely fantastic. I mean, we picked some stuff a little earlier, and man, the freshness of the fruit on the 16 still is just remarkable to me. I love where this wine's at right now, and that's with that extended barrel age time for the reserve, which kind of will help mellow that out and kind of help kind of pull back. This Hedge Reserve is, to me, tasting absolutely fantastic right now.
It is. You're right. The acidity on it is like really grasping your front palate there. Tasting wonderful. I really enjoy that. The flavor on the finish, you just get more complex as the wine kind of mills down eventually after swallowing it. It takes over your palate. It's very well structured altogether.
The Hedge is our longest running wine of the program. 2002, the very first vintage of the Hogue started. Right out the gates, this was the wine that was made. There was only the Syrah in the front part of the property planted. So we have a lot of wine to reference looking back. Do you think you have like a particular vintage that has been a favorite for you?
So I don't know how far back I went with the Hedge yet. I mean, I've definitely got an opportunity to try the 2002 a couple of years back, thanks to the Hogs. Really, they managed to pull out a personal seller, one of those 2002s. I think everybody was pretty astonished of how the wine held up so long. I was in charge of opening that bottle, and that was a fun one. Because at the time, the entire neck of the bottle was completely waxed. The cork broke down completely. It was pretty crumbly, but that was a fun one. The wine was amazing. We went back to 2010s actually earlier this year, the January. I think the 10 is probably one of my favorite there because it still holds on to some of that acidity 10 years later, and yet you still have that. That acidity keeps up a little bit of freshness, but the wine matures well. It's super nice. I think the 210 for me is so far one of my favorites.
2010 is a very solid pull. I got the opportunity, in I want to say 2015. The Hales, amazing members of ours, longtime members of ours, called us up and said, "Hey, would you guys be interested in going through the entire 2006 lineup with us? We'll just bring it by and you can taste through, and you don't need to twist my arm." All of us were very happy to participate in that. And 2006 was another kind of cooler vintage, and so those, to me, I always love those when they get some cellar time on them. The 2006 Hedge was mind-numbingly good. It was a really fantastic wine. And I think that we've had some fun vintages like 610. I honestly think that 19 will fall into a similar category for it. 18's kind of showing some similar signs because while it wasn't cool, it was a lot more moderate. So some really nice hedges running down the pipeline. I think that based on your favorite, my favorite, I think we're in store for some really nice hedges moving forward.
And funny enough, I keep hearing from everybody here, but also club members, about a 2006 lineup that was brought in. So it must have been not only for the hedges, like you say, but I feel across the line that all 2006 must have been pretty amazing.
It absolutely was. It's a legendary day around here. All the staff that was on at the time, Evan and Maddie, we were very grateful to the Hales for bringing that in.
I'm going 14. I brought that home, and Tina and I got to journey with that bottle together.
The 14 Hedge,
Yeah, we finished that damn thing. Like, it was so good. It just, the way that it started and the way it finished was, it's something you talked about, Phil, was journeying with the bottle. And it was great. It was really nice.
It's in a really, really nice spot right now. We've been debating always kind of what to bring to the table for you guys each week. We had tasted a 14, and it was just kind of like, wow, this is in a pretty awesome spot right now. It will continue to develop and will continue to evolve in something even more complex. But we're in a really nice spot right now. So if you got it, I would definitely pop it. If you don't have it, we have it online. So in line with kind of what we've been attempting to do with this, we'll offer the 2014 online. I believe it's at the release price.
Yeah, we're hooking you guys up with this. So it's release price. It's going to be at $66, usually $88. So very cool. We have limited quantity, so limited supply of it. I'm going to put links up for you right now. You'll see it on Instagram and Facebook, so do take advantage.
Nice. And then moving forward, we're trying to keep things in line a little bit for next week as well. We'll dive into the 15 and 17 hedge reserves, and then with that, we'll try to get all of that up online where you can order it. And so if you guys want to taste through the wines with us and have questions about them, why you taste them, it's definitely encouraged. So reach out to us here, hop online, some point in time in the week, and we'll get that wine earlier the better for us to get it out to you in time.
And I think that's when it becomes even more interesting, right? Because you're tasting the same wines, 3 different vintages, back-to-back vintages as well. And at that point, is what we were talking on one of our first live here, is how, being so small, we're really trying to cater the wine to the vintage in particular. And so all of them are very specific, characteristic that are in sync with what happened in the vineyard, the weather that we got, and things like this. So I'm pretty excited with that for sure. That's going to be tasting amazing. I love those Hedge Reserve there. I went back to some of the 14s when I first started, and again, just give some time to this wine. That's something I wanted to touch on as well. It's a conversation we had with Terry when as we were blending the Hedge Reserve in January. It was like, a lot of people don't give enough credit for the Syrah. A lot of people don't believe that the Syrah will hold on 15, 20 years. I think that not only with us here, going back to some 06, 2002s as well, but not only that, but around Paso as well, just the older vintages are going to come out more frequently, I guess, because more people, opened up wineries in the early 2000s. So more wine's going to be out there, and older vintages available as well. But I think the Syrah holds on super, super well, and really can take on, an easy 10 years, moderate 15, and take those 20 years, if the wine is catered to be this,
Yeah, the nice part with the wines here is that I do think and agree and know. We've experienced that the wines hold on, or they're perfectly good early on as well. So times like these, I dip into the cellar stash a little more than I might in other times.
Agree.
So now's the time if you're working through it. Yeah, both of these wines are perfectly openable right now.
Yeah.
I actually did the Hedge 16 Hedge Reserve with some lamb shanks for Easter dinner. It was pretty fantastic.
Nice. Perfect pairing. I feel the lemon and the Syrah just pairs super well.
Yep.
Strong flavors both sides there, just carry themselves really, really nice. Super happy with those.
Nice. Well, should we hop over to another question?
Yes. I'll let you go this time. Make sure you keep sending this out. So, any questions today, Brendan, so far?
We handled all the questions so far.
Perfect.
You
Well,
said,
hopefully,
would you ship to Tennessee? I said, heck yes, we ship to Tennessee. So I had to run out of here. So I had to double check.
and keep in mind, we still have that question coming up for the gift card.
Gift card question.
I haven't forgotten. So Phil, what is the next iteration of your hair? Given the events that are currently unfolding, I think a mop might be the next iteration of my hair because
What
it's
is
a
a mop?
little more difficult to get a hair cut these days than it was.
I think we can see
a little while ago.
the highlights fading away.
Yeah.
The roots are coming out. Hey, I'm really good at the roots I did for Tina, so I can get those blonde again.
We'll
Let
see.
me know.
If I show up next week with even funkier hair, you'll know what happened. I agreed to let Brandon do that. So, man, my hair, I've said before in the past, I mean, these guys here aren't really used to shifts in my hair too much. I used to change it all the time. Lots of different colors, lots of different things. I'm hoping to keep it blonde, but it's going to be, I got to find a hookup at a salon who can get me the proper bleach because what's in the box isn't going to do it for me. I tried. I get to about brass, and that's about it.
Wait a second. You tell me you do your own hair?
Yes, me and my wife.
Oh, Carol. Good. She's a saint.
She is a saint.
I think it's. Let me tell you something. I never thought that I would say, honey, yes, please go to the hairdresser and drop whatever amount of money you need to do. I did this for her like last week. It was scary. It was very difficult. So I applaud you too.
Yeah, we have a fun time with it, and I think it's definitely. I mean, I should have more time to do it now than any other time, but it's just a little more difficult to get your hands on the proper supplies.
It's gonna show up with Rambler next week.
Yeah. I think the direction I'm going is like somewhere between Rod Stewart and Sebastian Bach. We'll go like that rendition, which I kind of had something similar to that a while back. I figure I didn't count on everyone seeing me each week, but I have a little more time, and I'm kind of typically hiding in the back in the cellar, so I'm kind of hidden here typically. I can get a little crazy with the hair.
Can get away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? So, for your question, you gift card potential winners, what was the first vintage of the Hedge? What was the first vintage of the Hedge?
Drum roll.
That is probably super loud on the microphones.
So
Is that loud?
shoot your answer down in the comments, both Instagram and Facebook. If nobody gets it during the live, then we'll look at the comments. So keep putting them down, and we'll go through it.
First one.
Down here. The first one, we get a gift card, we send it out, and we'll reach out to you guys, private messages.
2004.
Not 2004.
Good, close. 2002.
That's it.
Gurky.
Of course.
Gurky count. Gurky's okay.
Good job.
Hello, you guys.
Yes, thank you for being live with us today. Thank you for joining us. I hope you guys have some back vintages in the cellar there. I hope you were able to open up one of the 14 and enjoy it as well as we did. If not, just send us a picture. I'm sure you will soon. But yeah, thank you very much.
So yeah, thank you again for tuning in, you guys. A huge thank you to Chef Wills for coming out. This is a stunning plate. He let us know that it is fully edible, so
Always
this
happy.
is what we'll be enjoying immediately after we are done here. Yeah, I mean, thanks for all the support. Thanks for keeping the orders coming in. Yeah, next week, the 15 and 17 Hedge Reserves, we'll have the event set on Facebook, but we will do it both Facebook and Instagram Live still. And yeah, check out the recipes. I mean, we've got some fun stuff out there from the last few weeks.
Yep.
So if you're looking for something to pair with something you got in the cellar, that's a great place to start. Go hunt down those posts, hunt down those recipes.
And I'll be posting the recipe and the links necessary immediately
Right
following
after
this.
Absolutely.
All right.
Perfect. Well, on behalf of everyone here at the TH team, thanks for hanging out with us again on Saturday.
Yeah, thank you very much, and we'll see you guys next week.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye.